This Heritage Month, the South African National Blood Service is calling on all South Africans to become everyday heroes through the act of donating blood. Under the campaign Bleed for Change, SANBS aims to raise awareness about the urgent need for blood donors, as less than 1% of the population currently donates, despite the daily demand to save lives. To tell us more about the campaign and how communities can get involved, we're joined by Shivani Luchman, who is head of donor relations for the Vaal Zone at the SANBS, or the South African National Blood Service. Shivani, thank you for joining us. How are you this Tuesday morning?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you for inviting us to give a little bit of background about Heritage Day promotions and our Bleed for Change campaign.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. How does the Bleed for Change campaign connect to Heritage Month?
So, this Heritage Month, we were actually very blessed. We want to remind South Africans about their legacy that they can leave behind, similar to how our past heroes fought for our freedom and how they laid down their lives for people's rights. So, under the theme of celebrating the lives of our heroes and heroines that actually fought for freedom, SANBUS and the Roundtable South Africa are calling on normal citizens like you and I to become modern day heroes through the simple act of donating blood. So, our objectives are so aligned into one cause, which is saving lives.
How many lives are saved by one blood donor?
So it's amazing. You would think that just 480 mLs might not be able to make a difference, but actually it can go to 3 different patients. For those of the listeners out there, if you've never given blood, it's not like we're going to take all your blood. So rest assured that 1 unit of blood can be separated into 3 blood products like plasma, platelets, and red blood cells. So you have an opportunity to make a difference to 3 families, 3 patients, and let their story and more memories continue to be made.
So, why do you think less than 1% of South Africans donate blood?
So, I actually thought about this question and I thought to myself, before I started in South African National Blood Service, you're not actually aware of the need until someone in your family actually needs blood. It could be someone in your family that's got cancer, or someone that has had been through childbirth and or experienced a lot of blood loss. And it only is when you're impacted then you realize the importance of giving blood. There's a saying, ignorance is bliss and knowledge is power. So I actually feel like the more partnerships that we have with Roundtable and other organizations that are like-minded, we can actually influence this percentage by creating a culture, but just educating the community about the importance of giving back. I mean, they can ask themselves this question: if they needed blood, would they take it? And if they're willing to take it, maybe they should start thinking about, should I start donating blood as well?
And when we talk about what we need to start thinking about, I mean, it's not just in cases of accidents or, major surgery, but you think of women who give birth via C-section. They need blood. You think of children
100%.
who have to go under surgery for transplants. They need blood. So I think for me that was the wake up factor. But what have you seen in terms of improvements, however, when people come forward to donate, and what would you mainly attribute that to, if there is a rise in people having come to donate, let's say in the past 10 years?
So I've been in Sandmas for the last 20 years, eh? So I've actually seen our blood supply dip, and it's amazing to see that we are now in a position that is so blessed where our donors are donating regularly. We currently have about 7 days stock of blood. So previous to that, in the last before last year, we would experience blood crisis where our blood stocks will be less than 2 days. It could be attributed to seasons where people go on holiday, people have the flu, and predominantly our blood. Um, we depended highly on our school kids and the youth to donate blood. So times when schools would be closed, we would really struggle. But in the last year, I must thank our donors out there for religiously coming and donating blood. and being so committed and dedicated to donate every 56 days. So I would like to continue, also urge them to continue being so dedicated because they are saving so many lives.
So, what are the main goals of this particular campaign? It's going to be running until February of next year, we understand.
100%. So the main aim is to enroll more new donors in this campaign. So you saw there's only 1% of the population donating, and we want to build a culture of young donors because we don't want our donors only to be consist of only aging donors. If we're going to build a generation of blood donors, we need to start as early as possible. So we have to increase our donor base. That's one of the aims, and increase our new donors. But also on another note, it's also a great example to other organizations to also partner, host us, and adopt us so that we can create more community awareness for the importance of giving blood.
What steps should first-time donors follow to donate?
So if I had to tell all first-time donors if they want to donate blood, apart from the criteria, they should ask themselves what legacy do they want to leave behind for their families, for their friends, and how do they want to be remembered? So not every person can become a doctor or a nurse or a policeman or a firefighter. But when you're a blood donor, you give hope and you bring magic to families. But most of all, you give families the happy ending, an opportunity to write their story and create more memories. And wouldn't they like to be part of someone's story? You know,
Yes.
so that they can be that hero without a cape.
Yeah. How important is it for citizens to find out what their blood type is, so as to know how in demand their blood type or that particular blood type is for donation? We know that certain blood types can be used across the board more than others.
100%. So it's not important for you to know before. So because that's one of our tests that we do conduct after you donate blood. We run a series of tests, and one of the tests that we do on everyone's blood is their blood group. So there's 4 blood types, 4 main blood groups, which is your A, your B, AB, and O. And O negative is the universal donor. So O negative can donate to everyone, especially in an emergency. However, we do need all blood types, especially for other products, blood products, if specialized products, if they would like to donate blood.
Can you share with us a story that shows the impact of blood donation? I'm sure you've got a few.
You know what? I said, let me be honest and share my story.
Yeah.
So I'm actually so touched, and that's why I have so much of passion that I'm working here for 20 years, because in 2015, when my baby was just 3 months old, my husband had open heart surgery, and he was only 32 years old, and he received 4 units of blood. So a few years later, when I was about to give birth to my second baby, my iron level was so low. And you just touched on something earlier about C-sections. I could not have my C-section until I received 2 units of blood because my iron was that low. So donors actually helped us create more memories. And our story is still being written because of strangers out there that selflessly donated their blood. So I'd like to say their blood did not run out, and the ink did not run out on our story. So I'd like to thank everybody that donates blood, because there's thousands of patients out there that have similar stories like mine.
Shivani, thank you so much for joining us and sharing insight on such an important topic, as well as sharing your personal stories. We appreciate your time.
Such a pleasure for inviting us. I'd love to also urge the listeners out there, if you see any roundtable and SANBS blood drives, please come through, roll up those sleeves. You just need to be 16 years old and above, 50 kgs, be well and healthy, and be willing to save 3 lives. Thank you so much.
Great, the pleasure. Shivani Luchman is Head of Donor Relations for the Vaal Zone at the South African National Blood Service. Just got a minute past 7 Central African time. Good morning and thanks for staying with Rise and Shine here on Channel Africa. In this next hour, we look at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry in South Africa, which has heard explosive testimony from the country's National Police Commissioner, Fanny Masemula. Also, Britain, Canada and Australia have announced their recognition of the State of Palestine. Those stories and more coming up. My name is Asanda Peta. Let's start with our news update. Here's Onele Nzinzi, and then following her is Musubudi Makura with the sports headlines.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Asanda. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and his counterparts Donald Trump from the US and Lula da Silva from Brazil will be amongst the speakers in the annual general debate of the United Nations General Assembly later today. Ramaphosa is expected to call on the UN to demonstrate the multilateralism is alive. The White House says Trump will deliver a major speech on the renewal of American strength around the world. Sean Bryce Peace reports.
Trump returns to the UN after a 4-year absence, having riled foes and allies alike since returning to the White House in January, and the reception he'll receive will be closely watched over US tariffs and its support for Israel's continued war in Gaza that has bucked international calls for an immediate ceasefire. President Lula speaks directly before Trump amid a tense standoff over Brazil's conviction of Trump ally and former President Jair Bolsonaro for seeking to illegally cling to power. President Ramaphosa is expected to again reiterate calls for the UN to exercise its leadership role in global governance.
A UN conference in support of the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has ended in New York. 11 countries, including France and Britain, have recognized the Palestinian state in the last 2 days. A leader of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, has urged others to follow and declare that Hamas will be ousted. He was speaking to the General Assembly via video link after Trump administration banned him from entering the U.S.
Hamas will have no role in governing. Hamas and other factions must surrender their weapons to the Palestinian Authority. What we want is one unified state without weapons, a state with one law and one legitimate security force. We stress our condemnation of the occupation's crimes. We also condemn the killing and detention of civilians, including Hamas's actions on October the 7th, 2023.
South Africa's National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemula will this morning continue with his testimony at the Madlanga Commission